if you're not wrong, where everything is alright. So we're gonna walk through the roads of creation. Be the generation track through great tribulation in this exodus.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome back. I know everyone likes to hear me. No, I've taken it down because I need to hear Mawuli's. You know, we have him for the day. We're going to use him up. Okay. So another question I'd like to ask you. Okay, is how did you go about doing your research for this book?
Okay. I used, like I mentioned earlier, I had to go back to our traditional history.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that one is our traditional history, so that's natural to me. But apart from that, there is information now, thanks to the internet.
It's a wonderful tool, isn't it?
It's a very wonderful tool that I will encourage everyone to use. That if you want information, just Google it up.
Right.
Do you see? And whatever you want, you can have so much to cross-reference. Through doing things like that, you can sieve out what is the lie and what is the truth.
You did a wonderful research in your book. You said type in Ewe, you must present, and on the internet and Google, and it came back up as Hebrews, didn't it?
Yes, Ewe.
Ebe.
Yeah. It's written I-V-R-I.
I-V-R-I.
And it's pronounced Ewe.
Right.
Yes.
And that was a wonderful one. You showed us how to do this, didn't it? And it came out wonderfully. Yes. My bike seems to be cutting out something. The Bible is the basis for a lot of our books, in the Bible. Is it still relevant today? Is the Bible still relevant today? Yeah.
Very, very. Because you remember earlier on I said you need to know your history.
Right.
To not to repeat the mistakes of the past. The Bible, apart from being a spiritual book, is a history book. And now we are knowing that our black people, our black ancestors wrote the Bible. That means the Bible is the black history book. So for black people to know the mistakes of their ancestors in order not to repeat them in the future, we need to know what our ancestors wrote as their history, and that is the Bible.
You see, there's when you start looking at people now, people says, oh, that's a white man's book. Yeah, and that's why young people say, oh, it's a white man book. And then when you try and tell them, when you try and show them that, it's our book, it opens a new dimension for them.
Yes, it does.
We have things that Yah's coming speaking to some young people, telling them who they are, and they're just amazed and just drawn to this book now. I mean, Lady Eruption is one of the example of that, and so to move away from the idea that it's a white man book, it's not our history book. We think, when we try to apply it more to say it's our history book, people read it a bit more to understand.
Well, there's nowhere in the Bible that the Bible writers were ever identified as white. You see, you can mention all the Bible writers, even the writers of the New Testament, and you'll find they were all Hebrews. and we have images of the Hebrews at the British Museum.
And you got some in your book as
Yes,
well? Wonderful,
yes. So I didn't mention the book because I know British Museum is where anybody can go. It's free. You want to see the Hebrews, just go to the Assyrian section at the British Museum, and you see them with their Afro-textured hair.
But I want to ask the question, because I know, I mean, I was a Jehovah's Witness for 8 years, and you know, it's only now, because you know, you constantly read the Bible, but it's only now it's like to bring to life that I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at it as a whole as black people, it's like we had a block each in our brain, and even though we could read it, but we didn't understand it, isn't it? Because I know that, you know, you've gone through that, myself, Auntie Norma, and, you know, people that I've known. But now it's starting to make sense, because I feel personally that Yah has awakened me, and not only by me reading the Bible, but it's through dreams, you know, just certain things will come into sense, and I read it and things like that. And I was mentioning about, you know, at work, this little girl was named Yoshabel, and I keep calling her Yoshua. And my mind told me to, you know, research that, and I found that it was obviously Moses' mum was Yoshabel. So when I look at it as a whole, we can identify the Hebrews by names, because we are naming our children anyway with the Bible name. So do you see what I mean? So Yah hasn't closed us our ear, I mean our eyes, but by our names, you know, and the songs that we sing, is obviously somewhere down the line that you know what I mean, we were God's people, isn't it?
It's always been
you say.
Okay, in the book it talks about a lot about the languages, right, and the name. Now, how comes it where people don't speak Hebrew? And where can we go to learn the original language?
Why do you say that when people don't speak Hebrew?
You know what I'm saying? It's because we know the Hebrew as being what the language, what we thought. This is what we thought.
Remember I said to you that it is through getting to know my tradition that I realized I was an Israelite, because I listened to the words they use.
Right.
And the words agree with the Hebrew words. Take, for instance, in the name David is the English translation of the Hebrew name of King David. Now, in the Jews who use a European accent, they pronounce it in Hebrew as Davi. Davi.
That's it.
Okay. In our language, Ewe language, which is Ewe means Hebrew, we say Davi. So you see, so you said we don't speak Hebrew. That's we call the name Hebrew. We call David Devi. Devi in our language means the child.
Okay, and he was the youngest.
And David was the youngest.
Right.
Do you see? And remember, I said we knew the name of God as Yahweh. Now, the Hebrew name of God is, as the Bible scholars are discovering, is Yahweh or Yahweh. Do you see? So those, there's it already. We are speaking, the Ewe people in West Africa. This is the names we use. Then another example I'll give you is the word prophet. Prophet in the Hebrew language. The Jews with the European accent will say Navi. We say